right, we're live on the highway with Genuine Asset CEO, Mr. Jerrell White. We have a few questions we want him to speak on today. First question is, Mr. Genuine Asset, what is an asset or a good asset?
What is an asset? Yeah, I made a video about this the other day, touched upon some what is an asset. So what do I think an asset is, or what is my definition of an asset? For me, an asset is something that, in short, puts money in your pocket. Something that is not a liability. It's something that's not taking money out of my pocket, right? It's something that's valuable, that has value, that is putting money into my pocket, right? It can be a contract. It can be an object that is that has value and other people perceive as valuable and are willing and happy to exchange their money for the value that you bring in your product or your service. What do you think? What do you think, B?
I think you hit that right on the head.
What do you think that people in general think that assets are?
I think most people think assets are things that they own, like a car, maybe a business,
okay,
maybe something valuable that they have in their home, like a piece of jewelry,
right?
Something common like that.
Because I remember, thinking and also having other people tell me, okay, my house is an asset. Well, I believe that, is it valuable? Is a house valuable? Will somebody exchange money for it? Yes, somebody will exchange money for that at some point, whether it's selling it or renting it out, right? Yeah. But if I'm just living in my house and I'm paying on it monthly, money's coming out of my pocket to pay that house, to pay that mortgage, then it's a potential asset, I would say. It is valuable, but to get a return on the money, I'm not getting a return on the money until I sell it or until I rent it out and someone else, OPM, I'm using other people's money to pay off the mortgage.
Right.
So that's how I would see.
So it's almost like it's like a mindset. You can have the same thing, like the example you gave, a property or a home. On one end, it could be an asset, but on the other end, it could be a liability. So it's kind of like your mindset. If I determine that I want this house to be an asset, there's certain choices that you have to make and do in order to make that happen.
Make it a full-blown.
Like an Airbnb. Right, like you have this home, I could Airbnb it, I could rent it out, I could also sell it.
Right.
As opposed to just, I have a house and I'm living in it. So there's a mindset. When someone thinks of a home, they may think of only, a home is something you live in. Whereas if you change your mindset, you could think of a home as something that you can turn into an asset and make money off of.
Right. Yeah, that's a good explanation. The mindset, changing the mindset. I like that. Yeah.
So what are some other what are some assets that you consider to be attainable assets for the ordinary people out here in the States of America? Like, what's something they can reach, something they can attain, something common that you would consider to be a good asset?
Okay, so there's a couple things. If somebody has a few cars, or they get into the car rental business, they can turn that car right? That vehicle, that truck, or that more luxurious car into an asset by whether they purchase it on credit, whether they purchase it with their savings, whether they take out a home equity loan and say, you know what, I'm going to go into the car rental business, and then they do that thing and turn the vehicle into an asset by renting it out daily or monthly or however long they want to rent it out. And that can turn in, that right there would be a way to turn in or to turn an object like a vehicle into an income producing, a cash flow asset instead of a liability. I don't particularly do that, but I have something, I have a digital asset, right? Like a link, a clickable link online on my social media platforms, where when somebody clicks on that link and then they purchase the service, the product, right? Then I'll get a portion of that. So that's a digital asset. Mm-hmm. I don't have to be there to make money on that, for that to produce money or to have money coming in. I don't have to. That's up 24/7, 365. So
that's a good example, because I was thinking, what if someone doesn't have a car?
Right.
You know, the first thing someone would say to your first example was, "Oh, I don't have a car or more than one car."
Right.
But that second example you gave of that digital link is a great example of, you don't have to own a car or even a house to have a digital link representing some type of product or service that you provide.
Right. Yep, that's true. So whereas I gave like the first, like a real world example of an object like a car, you can have a virtual object like a clickable link, or a blog that someone can go to that has a clickable link, as utilize the social media platforms, or your own website, and you can have a site on there, a store, like a merchandise store, where, and these merchandise stores are free. You can have when it's free to set up, and then after you sell something on that site, like a hat, some merchandise, a hat or a coat, a sweatshirt, something like that, then the third party gets a portion of the sale. But there again, you don't have to be there to make money on that. You can just set something up virtually, and that be an online digital asset. So that's something that the everyday person can do. Like, you can make up your own logo. Like, I drew up this logo and I had a third party, sharpen it up. So for the company, and so that's an example of another example, digital asset as opposed to a real world car or a house. So that's another. There's another thing. There's another thing that people can utilize, that everyday person can utilize. They can utilize their credit to purchase an irrevocable trust, to purchase this document or this agreement called an irrevocable trust, where they can put money into it, and they actually flip the script and become the creditor instead of the debtor. And so once they do that, they have the potential to put money into an irrevocable trust checking account, and then every year what the creditor puts into the debtor system, they're due that back yearly. Mm-hmm. And so I have other videos out there that talk about that and the specific law that says that.
Right.
But yeah, that, and also like you can have, which is also tied to the clickable link, a voice recording, an audio recording. Videos are visual, can act as visual assets to the company and to our company and to your company.
Mm-hmm.
So they work for you. They don't, if you will, cost anything. It really was just the time to produce it or to create the video. And now once you have that video works for you and speaks for you all day, every day. Anytime somebody clicks on that video, they get a chance to meet you actually before they meet you. They get a chance to see what you're about, see what your company's about. It's a form of advertising. It's a form of marketing in this digital era that we're in. So it's invaluable because the video is worth, if a picture's worth 1,000 words, then a video is worth multiple thousands of words, right? And so we utilize videos for other people to make ourselves findable and seeable for potential clients. And through my partner and mentor, he's come up with the idea of a time client, because anytime someone watches your video, like for a couple seconds, they become, in essence, a time client. They set aside time, their own time, to take a look at your video, and so now they're a time client. And time clients usually, at some point in time, become a paying client. So
for someone that doesn't know that much about YouTube, although they may have a phone and a camera and be able to make a video, what would you say the important steps, or how easy is it to actually get a video or videos posted to YouTube and have some type of a monetary agreement with YouTube?
Well, it's as easy as turning your phone on. When you can turn the phone on and watch a video, right? You can turn the phone on and watch TV. You can turn the phone on and take a picture and take a selfie. It's just signing up to one of these platforms and entering in your information, right? But actually, you don't even have to do that. You can just go crazy making videos, doing things that are your jam, right? But I also, just to start out, you can do that. Like, you can make an archive of short videos. I would start out doing short videos, or whatever that interests you. Start out doing short videos, which is 60 seconds or less, because the 60-second or less video goes a long way, especially when you incorporate different elements into it that I'll go into at another time. But one of the things, I'll just give one ingredient is going to be feelings. So the mass majority of people, don't you operate on feelings? Like when you watch that movie, that certain parts of the movie really grips you, it gets you, it evokes some type of feeling. So that's one thing, that whether it's a feeling of excitement, a feeling of anger, a feeling of sadness, a feeling of empathy, it evokes something. So that's one of the things that you want to incorporate into your videos, into these short videos. But I would just go start doing things that interest you. When I first started posting on YouTube, it was how-to things, like how to do certain things. Right. And so I got away from it, and I stopped for a time, and then they took all the stuff off the site. But I had thousands of views on how-to videos. But you can do that. You can do funny stuff.
Now, how do you take those videos, even if you have those videos and you're just posting them consistently on YouTube? I've heard of people that have been on YouTube and have their own YouTube channels, but they weren't actually making money off of YouTube. But now, that's kind of like a thing where, people are monetizing YouTube. How easy or difficult, or what is the actual process to not only make your videos and post them, but to actually be in an agreement or under contract with YouTube to actually, monetize your videos.
So that's going to come later.
Okay.
That's going to come later on, like once you have so much watch time, so many people, so many hours. I think it's 3,000 to 4,000 hours of watch time, and then
so you have to build up to get the monetization. You have to build up to that.
Right. And for most people, they're not going to make, you're really not going to make that much, and so that's not my focus when I'm doing videos. When I'm doing videos, I'm looking to see how much value I can bring to the table. So how much better off is the other person going to be after they watch the video, after I share the knowledge, share information. So that's one of the things. Just coming to the market, coming to the table, and bringing what is meaningful. What's meaningful? What adds value? What can somebody walk away with? Can somebody walk away with a better mindset than when they first came? A better idea of for life or for business.
That sounds good.
But yeah, that's one of the main things. After I got a coach, that's when my followers and subscribers went up after actually I got a coach. And then when I got a coach and she showed me how to do videos and videos a certain way and incorporate these ingredients and these elements in the video, then I saw my channel went from a few subscribers literally in the beginning of the year, not this year, but in the beginning of a year, and then to 1,000 subscribers by the end of that year. And that was based, and it was all organically. I didn't pay for like ads or anything like that, but I did pay for a coach. I did get into the room. I have a video about clearing away the cobwebs, and I'm getting into the room with someone who knows something, who has the capacity to do something that you don't have and that you don't know. And so to lay aside our pride and and what we know, and actually get into a place to be able to relearn. And so in a humble place, because we're all like that. We're learning every day, and we're never at a place where we're not learning or able to absorb or grow in life and in business and things. So I would recommend getting a coach to go to another level, because the coach, the person that's doing and involved in your area, the area that you want to be involved in, whether that's a speaker, whether that's doing videos, whether that's doing some type of business, there's someone that's already been there. There's somebody that's already done that. Somebody that's already, tripped and fell many times, and has different knowledge and wisdom to be able to give you that will save you the time, right? It will save you time having a mentor, having a coach in whatever field that it is that you want to be involved in. So I definitely would recommend that, and they're going to take you to a whole nother level. I wouldn't get involved with people that or coaches or whatever you want to call them, gurus and things like that aren't actually doing what it is that you want to do. They didn't hear about it. They're actually doing it and living it. That's the coach that you want. You don't want a basketball coach that never played basketball. You don't want a baseball coach who never played baseball. Like, you want somebody who's proficient and efficient at and has the real world experience in doing what it is that
you're trying to do.
Exactly.
Right. That's great advice. So, Mr. Genuine Asset, Mr. CEO Jerrell White, just to wrap this up, as we're getting ready to conclude this video. From what I'm taking from what you're saying is look at the type of value that you can put in to a product or a service or into others, as opposed to looking for the end result as far as monetary gain, and make the focus more on the meaningfulness of your product or the meaningfulness of your service, the value that you bring to other people.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you touched on having a coach that's not only a good speaker, but someone who's actually doing what it is you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there anything else you'd like to add just to finish up this video clip?
I mean, that pretty much sums it up. I mean, being that person, which way? Being that person, whether it's in a business, with family and things like that, and having the mindset of bringing value, like how can I add value? How can I, be for someone else, be significant, have a significant impact on somebody else, whether it's business, positive, significant impact, and make someone else's life better. Like that's the goal, and that's the aim. And so when you help make other people's lives better, then in essence, being the secondary beneficiary, right? When you're the secondary beneficiary, even like talking about trust and trustees, you're always taken care of. God's going to take care of you. We see it all through the Bible, actually, even in from Joseph, who was sold into slavery, to who then went to prison, who then became Pharaoh's right-hand man, to Abram, who became Abraham, who didn't have any kids, but was concerned about those coming after him. He had a lot. He was blessed with a lot, and he wanted to know, God, what are you going to give me, seeing that I go childless? And then God did eventually give him children, so he was concerned about those. He was like a secondary beneficiary. He's concerned about those coming after him. And so there's a lot of stories like that in the Bible. And then as far as like assets, that's one of the things that we want to create, especially in the digital, like, informational age that we're in. Mm-hmm. Having one job usually it's not going to suffice. We need to have multiple streams of income, and I know we've learned that in the past from books like Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and so amongst others. So that's what I would work on. I would work on also becoming the person. I know Myron Golden talks about this, becoming the person, being the person that has the capacity, that has built up the capacity and the wisdom, the knowledge, and the understanding to be able to bring value and meaning into somebody else's situation, to somebody else's life. And so assets is having multiple assets or income producing assets, and online, and actually teamwork too. We didn't really get into teamwork, but we just came from a job where I had prior been on the job and wasn't able to get some things done because I needed some other tools and some other materials, but also help Like we're trying to do, we've grown up in this society where everybody's like an island. We try to do things on our own, and there's times where we can do things on our own, and like becoming the person that we want to be, right? We do that in the dark on our own, but then when it comes to business, when it comes to family and business, bringing minds together, bringing sets of eyes, more than one set of eyes together, right? And more than one set of thinking together, right? That's where you get an even expanded capacity to be able to get things done, and that's a principle in the Bible where it says that, you know, two is better than one because there's a reward for their labor, and a threefold cord isn't easily broken. So that's the idea of like masterminds, or, you know, teamwork, coming together and getting things done on another level. And it's because somebody like Brandon or my cousin or my other partners they'll be able to see something that I can't see. Or I looked at something and missed something, but they looked at something, they're like, no, how about we do this? And then bang, you know what I'm saying? And we're there to help each other and support each other, and work through whatever the problem is that needs to be solved. And so,
Right. You heard it best from Mr. Genuine Asset himself. Teamwork makes the dream work. Like, share, and subscribe this video if you got any value from it. We look forward to making another video for you guys here in the future.